In this video, I am going to be confronting one of my dad's friends who used to be strongly involved in the world of cryptocurrency mining. So much so that 2 years ago, just as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were reaching an all-time high, he invested $14,000 into a mining operation to purchase 3 machines that were used for nothing but mining Ethereum. Long story short, things didn't go so well, so for that reason, I decided to have my dad's friend Scott on the channel to hear his story of mining cryptocurrency. So with that being said, please sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, of course drop a like on this video, and let's get into this awesome video of me confronting a Bitcoin miner. Alright everyone, so this is my dad's friend Scott. He's been a business owner since 1991, and one of his more recent ventures that he got into about 2 years ago is an Ethereum mining operation. I'm gonna ask you some questions about all that if you're cool with it, and I'm really interested to hear about this. So my first question for you is, like, how did you hear about this business opportunity? Because myself and a lot of my viewers have no idea how to get into something like this.
Well, I actually got in it because I had a friend who is a bond broker, believe it or not. He was retired, and I had sold him some real estate, and he obviously knew a lot of people who were into like venture capital type stuff. And actually the guy who he wound up partnering with ran over, several $billion hedge fund at one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a very wealthy guy.
He is a very wealthy guy. Doesn't really need the money, but obviously he's always looking for the albatross.
Very cool. So when you heard about this, like, how much money did you put up into the operation to start?
To be honest with you, I'm a very conservative person, so I want to put the least amount of money in that I could, but obviously putting $10 in wouldn't have made a difference. I think the mining at that time was running between $3,000 and $4,000 for an actual rig. Again, at the time, it was hard to distinguish between what you wanted to mine, what currency, because really the currencies were all over the place at that time. And that's why we got into Ethereum, because Ethereum was looking to eclipse Bitcoin at the time, as the theory was on it anyways.
Okay, so you got into Ethereum instead of Bitcoin because you thought Ethereum had more growth to it than Bitcoin, since it was pretty overvalued at that time, in your opinion?
Correct. We actually got into it when it was going up on the first run and it was accelerating. We actually tried to buy rigs, but the delay in rigs took months to actually get up operational, find locations, where the electricity rates were favorable. And once we were able to do that, it was actually on the downside of the
Bitcoin.
high.
For
of
Bitcoin.
Okay. Well, and Ethereum at that time.
Okay, so the reason you didn't get into Bitcoin, it was super hyped up. It was hard to get mining rigs for that. And what was the price of it when you were first trying to potentially get into it?
I really don't remember that. I think it was in 2018. So
I think in December it was at like 20,000 of 2017. So I think it started.
That was Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where it was at on Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum was a much lower value. I mean, it was several $100. I think it was $600-700 at that time. We caught it, and it was making some money, but every month it was less because electricity rates were going up and a lot more people were trying to get into it. And as you know, obviously the more people get into it, the more advanced it gets.
Yeah, because you need more powerful computers to mine then, right? Because there's only a limited supply of Bitcoin and Ethereum, so you need more powerful computers to mine even less if there's a lot of competition.
Correct. And I actually got in, and that's why I paid a little bit more for nicer graphic cards, because they were able to mine faster, and supposedly I was able to mine different coins.
So the reason this wasn't really too successful was due to the electricity costs of mining Bitcoin and Ethereum, or what kind of went wrong with the whole operation?
Well, I think obviously we were buying into the hype, kind of like everything's happening now, where everybody's feeling like it's going to go institutional, and everybody's trying to get their hands in the pie before anything explodes. So everyone doesn't want to miss out. So they're just trying to grab a little piece of it. Everybody and their brother's trying to, let's add it to our portfolio. This is how it was before, where every news flash was, hey, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin's this price. I mean, even on national news all the time, and they weren't even talking about it before.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
channel.
So by the time you got into it, it was pretty hyped and it was starting to go down. So for that reason, it wasn't success?
Well, I think several reasons. Unfortunately, this was a new thing at the time, so management, and you were competing with other countries. You have China and places that were able to basically run supercomputers all the time. So we were competing with them, which would slow down everything. The algorithm changed, and it actually slowed it down, so it was actually harder to mine because we had hit a certain amount. And unfortunately, internal stuff, a lot of it had to do with we had to move a couple times because it was a new frontier that people were just building gigantic pole buildings, getting a massive electricity outside, and then basically you're paying them and you're renting the space and they're monitoring them, and there was a lot of downtime on your equipment and stuff, and we were doing averages. So if we had hundreds and hundreds of machines, then we were turning around and we would average, okay, if I owned 1/10 of the machines then, or 1/20th of the machines, it was based on the averages. It wasn't, these are my 3 machines with my name on them, even though I did own 3 machines.
You owned 3 machines, but it was averaged out across the entire building, right? Because you didn't physically have those machines in your house or anything like that.
No.
Somebody owned a warehouse and you had the rights to like the revenue from the 3 machines.
Correct.
Or an average, right?
Correct. And then we shared in the profits with the company. So we paid out the expenses first, and then there was a management fee, which was them operating them, and then obviously we then got our revenue paid out.
Got you. So you had 3 machines, cost about $4,000 each, right?
The total was like $14,000 and some change. We originally were paid monthly, but then it didn't make much sense, accounting wise, to do it monthly. So then they did it quarterly. I think they were having a hard time figuring out what to do because, again, we were having a lot of contractual problems with a lot of the companies that they had signed with, and we had nothing to do with that. It's, management was in charge of that, and they were just incurring extremely large. I mean, they moved from one side of the country to the other side of the country, which is disassembling everything and reassembling it elsewhere.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so this company did definitely have a lot of different issues. And
well, it was so new, and it was the Wild West. I mean, you're basically attempting to try to get in, like everyone's trying to get in now on this stuff. I worry for people that are trying to get in now. Are they on the backside like we were, and then they're going to watch it slide again? And then there's always people who are get in and out. There's always going to be millionaires out of it, and there's always going to be people like me who, unfortunately, I didn't put might be for some people a tremendous amount of money, but I knew it was speculation. The minimum I could have bought was 1 rig, and then I chose to buy 2 more at that time because I figured I would put about $15,000 total into it and see if it went anywhere.
So overall, how did you end up getting out of the whole Bitcoin/Ethereum mining operation at the end?
Well, the bad thing is it's been winding down for probably the last 6 months. Their last move really took all the money out of the company itself. So the company went upside down and was negative every single month. So unless we wanted to start paying to support it, which sadly at this point would have been a good idea, because obviously
Bitcoin started going up again,
and Ethereum and all the others, every crypto right behind it, it probably would have been good. But to keep dishing out money every quarter for currency that didn't seem like it was going anywhere but down.
So for the people watching right now, would you advise that they don't get into Bitcoin mining because of the volatility of it, or what would you recommend they do?
Well, obviously it really depends. I mean, for a lot of people, $14,000 is going to sound like $1 million, and for a lot of people, $14,000 is pennies. So I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a small percentage of your money into something that's speculative. However, with that being said, it is gambling.
I actually have a little bit of Bitcoin. Like, I can show you a bit of it. It's in a Robinhood portfolio. I invested $1,000 into it about a month ago, and it's doubled since then. Literally, I'm up 71% on Bitcoin. I bought it like a month ago when I filmed my first video on it.
But you see how fast it goes up. It goes down much faster. So
yeah. Overall, guys, I absolutely learned a ton of valuable information from this interview, and also please do not worry if a lot of this information seemed over your head, because I felt the exact same way while conducting this interview. The moral of the story is Bitcoin mining is an extremely complicated industry, and its profitability is 100% dependent on the electrical cost it takes to mine Bitcoin, and also, of course, the cryptocurrency mining algorithm, which is dependent on how many people are trying to mine. For that reason, reason, it was a lot easier to mine Bitcoin in 2013 on your iPhone 3GS than it is now in 2020. After my conversation with my dad's friend Scott, I would absolutely recommend that instead of trying to mine Bitcoin in 2020, you instead take the money you would have invested into mining rigs and put it into Bitcoin or Ethereum. You can do this by going down to the top link down below my description, clicking my Coinbase affiliate link, and you even get $5 worth of free Bitcoin once you deposit $100.